You
I'll
snooze, you lose.
start with the notes for her.
I was just like, I was gonna say the call to order time, and I was like, wait a minute.
You can fill her in, I think.
I think you can still do that, though. No?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So call to order. I'm gonna make it 7:06 p.m. Welcome to the March 25th, 2025 Environmental Commission meeting. We have me, Erin, chair. We have Alex Oros. We have Denise Zimmer. We have Glenn Candia, and we have 2 members of the public. Welcome. First order of business is the February meeting minutes. Need to be approved. Can I have a motion for that?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Cool. So we have Zimmer moved, Candia seconded. For ongoing business, the first thing we have on ongoing business is a green team update. I don't really have one. I don't know if I don't know if Denise or Glenn have anything to add for that.
I was surprised to hear that there's a meeting Friday. You sent that out, and I didn't know that. So
I didn't know that either.
yeah.
Oh, there's a
When
meeting.
did, who sent that?
Didn't Aaron in the right? You said something about Friday, no?
No, there's no
Green
meeting.
team update. Next meeting is Friday. No updates yet. Item B under 3B. Ongoing business.
Something is wrong with my.
I don't know.
I think you're looking at the meeting minutes.
Oh, Dahoy. Yes, I am. You're right. Hey, at least I read that.
At least you read that.
That's true.
Right. That is
That's
right.
true.
At least I went through it.
Erin, could I just do a point of order? I don't think we voted to approve the minutes. You got a motion and a second, but I don't know that we voted. Just can we
Okay.
do that?
Sure. Yeah. So we got a motion and a second. Everyone else who approves the minutes say aye.
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 Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I don't have anything. I mean, we left off the last meeting and we got that email from Susan.
Yes, the next day.
Yeah.
Which somehow in the gap of a moment, I must have volunteered for something I didn't know about.
Hey, that's okay. Apparently I volunteered for the green team. I didn't know that either, but
Yeah.
happy to be on it. But
the only thing I would share that I don't know that we knew the last time is that we are trying to make the next submission deadline, because we are targeting to get the certification in this fiscal year, which means we have 2 more chances to apply or to submit.
yeah, May. Well, Aaron, let's discuss that a little. So is it your understanding, Aaron, that the categories to which we were assigned are the categories we're responsible for submitting write-ups regarding what we propose New Brunswick's going to do to meet the requirements of the categories for points, right? Is that your understanding?
I think so. Yes. It wasn't made like abundantly clear.
No.
You know what I mean? But I think
that's the assumption.
I think that's the assumption.
I agree.
You know what I mean? I feel like whatever one that you've been assigned, you're kind of like a subject matter expert. You know what I mean?
Right. Right, but there was no formal, okay, guys, now the next step is going to be, this is what we're going to do, and this is when we want to see your product, and then we'll review them or something like that. There was no process like that. So I was wondering if it was understood by you or anyone else that That's what we're assuming is gonna happen. And it sounds like yes, correct?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's what's gonna happen.
All right, cool. Well, I offered to take some off of Denise's hands because she has quite a few, and I really can't do much for the green energy program because that's pretty much done. But-
Well, the one thing that I think I was supposed to do, and if anyone has any suggestions, I'm happy to take them, is find an easily accessible place as a repository for our documents and anything that we need to, that we want to collect to narrative or documentation to qualify for the points that will be part of the submission package. So I was just going to look at a Google Drive, honestly. I think that's the most kind of universal that most people know how to use. Does anybody have any other suggestions on that?
I don't. I think that's what you brought up. Is that correct? That's what you said.
Think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I agree, Denise, that I think Google Drive is the easiest and the simplest to do that.
Okay.
Would you be making just like a spreadsheet that's going to be shared amongst everybody?
Well, we have the task list, the master tracking sheet.
Right.
Okay, there you go. That one. Okay.
So I think we should just use that, and maybe I'm back. I've been away, and I just got back on Sunday. I was away in New Jersey, and then I just got back from a cruise on Sunday. So I'm a little behind on things, but this week I should be able to look at that. I might go in and match it to the assignments that people have, like put people's names in as lead, whatever, so that we at least have some structure to what we're doing. And I'll send a link out and tell people.
I don't know if
And
you
then,
want to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
I was just gonna say I don't know if you want to do this or leave it to the people that are responsible for their individual category, but you might want to create a folder for each category, not necessarily each action, and then the people that have the write-ups, like Matt said, I'm ready to write up. Where can I put it?
Right.
At least they have some place to deposit that. And then I guess they can label it, the heading of the document, because it's going to be documents mostly is what we'll be submitting.
Right.
And then,
Yeah, I don't have a problem doing that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a fairly quick and easy thing to do.
Yeah.
So I can align it with the tracking form.
yeah.
I should be making notes about this.
Yeah. Hello, Anne.
Hi,
Ann.
sorry I'm late.
That's
It's
okay.
okay.
Hi, Ann.
Hi.
Add her to the roll call.
Yeah.
Is somebody else already taking minutes?
I'm taking notes. I can send them along. What we did so far.
So do you want me to pick up from here? Or-
If you can, if you're up to it.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry.
That's
Okay.
okay. Well, I'll send you what we did already.
Thank you.
I guess there's not really much for us to do with the green team then right now. We're
Mhm,
kind of already on the move, so to speak. All right.
mhm.
So let's go to the next topic. If there's an update for lobbying local food service businesses to use recyclables, either Denise-
No, there isn't. I reached out to Pam. I spoke with her about the meet and greet basically meeting that Denise did with the board. Gosh, I don't even remember when it was January because I was moving my, oh no, it was December, excuse me, December 18th, because I was moving my aunt and uncle. because there was an idea floated by one, I think the chair of the board, Doug, the guy that owns Clyde's and Tavern and a couple other places, I'm assuming, that he might put together a group of basically restaurateurs, people that would deal with the types of issues that one would need to deal with if they were going to be a part of the, well, not only, but a part of the skip the stuff ordinance, if that ever gets done. Of course, they could do it on their own, but there's a formal proposal for the ordinance out there. And then also expand on that, because skip the stuff is a small portion of what we would hopefully look for them to do. The to-go containers are really a big part of it. As we discussed many times, you go to a restaurant, you want a doggy container, and you want to avoid using plastics and things like that. So hopefully we can expand on that initial conversation and broaden it out to other items that are larger contributors to the to the waste stream with respect to plastics and items like that. So get more sustainable products out in the in the public, so we don't have as much plastic in the waste stream. That's the idea. So she's going to get back to me when she's talked to Doug, and that's coordinated, and then we'll take it from there. There will probably be another board meeting, would be my guess.
Mhm.
Is there a timeline for this?
No, she's said she'll get back to me. She needs to talk to Doug, and everyone's busy. So
I don't know if this changes your thoughts or anything, Glenn, and I don't know how big it's gonna be, but Middlesex County is gonna start to accept number 5s.
wow,
Wow.
yeah, that's big.
Starting in 2026.
You know what? After we went to Colgate, I got to be honest. I mean, the truth of the matter is they already accept 5s, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. But
Yeah.
it's just saying that now it's gonna be
formally.
part and formally,
Yeah, right.
it's gonna be a formal thing
Do you
now.
know one of the things, of course, because we're a college town, one of the things that would be a big part of that, though, do you know what number those red Dixie cups are, Aaron? I don't remember.
There's
I have one.
6s.
It's
Oh,
6.
yeah.
I can look on the bottom.
Aaron knows they're 6s, right? Because those constitute a large amount of
It's
recyclable.
dark in this room. I can't see. Do you know, Erin?
I think they're number 5. I mean, number 6s, I mean.
6, right?
I think because I was at a cleanup with a Rutgers group and I I checked. I
Right,
wanted to know.
right. I have to lodge a complaint. They got to make the numbers a little bigger. I mean, yeah, sure, I'm getting older, but I mean, come on. Some of these things you just cannot see the number at all. It's almost ridiculous how hard it is to determine what number it is.
Solo is a 6.
Yeah.
Solo is a 6.
So anyway, forward that up the chain, Aaron. Get bigger numbers.
I feel like there's a really big push now to get rid of the numbers, to be completely honest.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
and I don't know how I feel about that because the county's trying to just use like language, so to speak.
Hmm.
Like I forget what the exact verbiage is, but they're getting away from the numbers because I think it confuses people. But
Hmm.
then I think that it gives people something to look for, to know what type of plastic it is, to make sure that they could actually check to see if it's recyclable
Oh.
or not. You know what I mean?
I always look.
So they're like, just call it like plastic tubs and this and that. And I'm like, but that's so open to interpretation
Right.
that
Right.
I can't like
Well,
get behind that. Because I'm like
we're
supposed to tell people, especially with like a language thing, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, how am I gonna exactly describe this yogurt tub? You know what I mean?
Well, this isn't something national. I mean, they're not going to actually change the numbering system on all the products nationwide. This is just for you to a way for you to communicate to the public what type of products should be included in recycling, right?
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
still say 1 and 2. It's just, you'll
Yeah.
say, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, I just made chicken soup the other night, and in addition to using, the stock that I make from bones and stuff, I also add in this case a box of chicken stock, which I looked on it to see if it was recyclable, and it says coated paper. Now, I know from the schedule that we're not supposed to put, Karen's already laughing, we're not supposed to put things that like wax coated.
Nope, Glenn, it's
Right.
not so the thing is,
Not recyclable.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah, I
recyclable
know,
in here
in
where
Middlesex.
we are in New Jersey and
Yeah,
Middlesex
right,
County.
right,
It might be recyclable in another county, I'm not
right,
sure.
right,
And then the other thing is that I know like in New York City, I know it is recyclable. They're like cartons. You
right,
know what I mean?
exactly, yes.
They're in the same category as like a milk carton or
Ice cream,
a ice cream carton
right.
or a orange juice carton.
But the reason I bring it up is because I think, if I remember correctly, I haven't studied the schedule recently, but I think it says like wax coated paper containers or wax coated containers. This said coated paper only. It didn't say wax coated. So I was like, okay, what do I do? The word wax isn't there. So I could see how it might help individuals to be able to read, what, although look, I'm telling you, the pizza boxes constitute a large percentage of the recyclables here. And, that's clearly plainly written in the schedule, no pizza boxes. Although I think you kind of updated it to say grease stuff. I don't remember anymore. But anyway, it might be helpful to have that.
Erin, can I ask you to clarify when you said there's a push? Where is that push coming from to eliminate the coding? Is that local or is that coming from another level, either state or county, state or federal?
I think it's coming from the county.
Oh,
I think it's coming from the county as well as the state.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's definitely county for sure. I know it's definitely Middlesex County. Because we
Okay.
had these we had like a little we get grants that we can apply for, recycling enhancement grants, and I applied
wow.
for one, and I like put a little, it's not much, it's like $2,500, but I was like, hey man, it's money.
Yeah.
So I was like, you can design like different things to teach people about the new plastics education. And I was like, oh, I'll make a button like high five for plastic or something.
Ah,
People think like, oh, like number
yeah,
fives now,
yeah.
cool. And they were totally like, no, we want to go in the direction of using this verbiage, which I can't remember off the top of my head, to describe the new plastics, what I mean? To get away
Interesting.
from the numbering.
Numbering.
And I was like, I don't, how am I don't, I feel like I'm going to keep using the numbers. You know what I mean? I'm going to be.
Parentheses
Well, it's not
number.
like the manufacturers are going to stop putting the numbers. It's
Right.
just or how we're going to identify it.
Right.
So,
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
yeah. So I feel like, I'm going to still look at everything. I'm just glad to know that the fives are going to be added
Yes.
because that's probably the majority of things that I throw away.
Ah, right. That makes sense for
They're the
you.
thinner, more, and I try not to buy single-use things as much, but it's almost impossible.
Yeah, good luck with
comes-
that.
Well, especially given your culinary tendencies, right? So
Yeah, I'm talking about like packaging in the grocery store.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Everything is, I think there are a
Everything.
lot of safety concerns
Oh,
too.
no.
So it's
Oh.
packed and double packed.
Or like
Yeah.
when, yeah, like an apple's covered in plastic. It doesn't
I
make any
don't see that.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
let's
Well, can I just say something? That's ironic because that dovetails into the whole lobbying businesses, because if they're gonna, a lot of the products that the businesses give out, so let's use my classic example. We had one holiday get together at Destination Dogs, right? I get the clamshell container, I look at it, it says 5. I'm like, we got to do something about this. And so reach out to Pam, blah, 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 board meeting. And now, if they're going to accept them, that's going to change the whole. I mean, look, it would still be better to get fewer plastics into the waste stream anyway, right? I mean, ultimately, that would be the high level goal.
yeah, that's the
But
highlight.
now if they're accepting them, it's a harder case to make. I'll have to work on that.
I would love to see more education about the harmful impact on our bodies with some of this stuff. I don't know if you saw
Yeah,
and this is probably outside of our scope, although maybe
microplastic accumulation.
we could do
Yeah,
something
bioaccumulation.
with Rutgers, or maybe we could do something with the green team. Like the scans that they're doing, and like they've now figured out a way to scan to see plastic in your brain. And I guess I mean, I'm sitting here drinking coffee from a coated paper cup,
Yep.
and it was hot, and I'm probably ingesting.
Yeah, that's
plastic.
PFAS too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, who knows what the impact of that is going to be. That's, to me,
They're finding residues of plastics and placentas and newborn. I mean, it's
Yeah.
So that, to me, maybe there'll be people who are more moved by that than the environment. I don't know.
You never know, that might actually make people, you know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, make people move.
So we have to think about that.
Do we want to move to the next item in the agenda, the skip the stuff draft ordinance?
Sure.
Sure.
well, I sent out the ordinance draft.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back
Thank
from
you.
anybody on it.
Well, though we would discuss it here, which we're doing. There was one thing I was curious about, Anne, and this is not, you didn't generate this, right? You borrowed it from a municipality?
No, I borrowed it from Anjac. That's their.
Oh, okay. I wasn't quite sure their definition of plastic. I might be reading it wrong. So plastic means this is item D under section 1. Plastic means any synthetic or semi-synthetic material made from polymers or from renewable or biological sources. Now, there are bioplastics, but I wouldn't think they would be a problem if they're used. And then I didn't really see much mention of it further down. But we would want more bioplastics to be used as substitutes for plastics. So I was
Give an example of a bioplastic.
Lactic acid is one, if I'm not mistaken. I forget the initials. You know, there are acronyms for everything. I'd have to look it up. Sorry. But here they do give, including but not limited to vegetable fats and oils, polysaccharide, sugars, or proteins. So plastics can be made from a lot of biochemicals, and they list a few here. So I don't see why those would be good substitutes.
Well, they're capable of breaking down naturally.
Right. Well, that's good. That's what we want. as opposed to, plastics made from petrochemicals, which don't break down naturally. So I was just curious about that. I'll explore that further. Maybe reach out even to Amject to see what they mean by this, if they drafted this, but I'm like, why wouldn't we want renewable plastics? I mean, it says renewable right here. I'm not sure.
So are you gonna reach out to them?
Yeah, and I didn't
Okay.
see, yeah. Well, because it's a part of the whole concept of
I kind of
lobbying.
think this is really in your wheelhouse,
Yeah, it's part of it's
yeah.
part of the whole concept of lobbying the businesses, right? Because they have alternative plastic stirrers. So, you go to Clyde, you sit at the bar, you order I don't know, vodka and tonic, and you get a little stir, and it's not plastic. And that's
It's not
good.
plastic?
No, well, theirs might be plastic, but they have plastic alternatives. They have plastic alternatives for straws made from renewable components.
Bamboo, wood.
Well,
like
not the straws, but
toothpick.
yes,
Yeah.
Straws too?
yeah, straws. They have alternative plastics. I'll have to look again. I haven't looked because that whole thing is on the back burner right now. But I would think that would be a good thing, and I just want to find out what they mean. So yeah, I'll definitely reach out to them and see if I can get some insight into what that's about.
Right.
So, Anne, I have a question about the kind of the facilitation of this ordinance. Is this something we would want to go directly to the city council with, or do we want to socialize this with some of, like we've been talking about, with the group, with the New Brunswick City Market and with the
Yeah.
Esperanza Group?
Yeah,
to-
it should be,
to get
it
their
should be
buy-in?
socialized for. You can't go straight to city council. They're just, that doesn't work. So,
Mhm.
yeah. No, I mean, that's why I said it's kind of in your wheelhouse. I mean, there's the, the draft of the thing, and it can be edited. And if these people say, that's fine, I love it the way it is, or if they want to say, take this out, that's really, get their input.
Yeah.
I don't propose to be cramming anything down, people's throats. It won't work.
Did you want to
Agreed.
follow up on that, Denise? Or
No, agreed. I
Yeah.
agree with that.
There
I
was
think
one,
we want buy-in and we want incentivizing if we can do that,
right?
rather
And
than.
then the proprietors are going to need to have some form of indication that this is happening, like a sign says, if you require utensils, please request them, type of sign.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's part of it, right?
Yeah, of
I mean,
course,
you have to
of course.
tell people that they're not gonna get stuff
Right.
unless they ask for it.
The-
And, that's,
There was one thing that came up at, ironically, it came up kind of as a side issue. And I'll struggle to remember why I brought it up, but it came up at the Green Team meeting that, if I'm not mistaken, and Aaron or Denise, please correct me if I'm wrong, if you remember this, but I believe Brandon said we use county health inspectors. So we don't have city health inspectors, right? I
believe
was-
so, yes.
Yeah, I mentioned someone brought up an issue, one of the action items that would require some form of inspection by the health department. And I said, oh, well, they didn't say that. I said, by the way, this action does have a health inspection department component to it. And he said, well, we use county health inspectors. So the only reason I bring that up is because part of the enforcement mechanism, which is a significant portion of this ordinance, relies on health inspectors. So I don't know how that would
no,
work.
it doesn't. It says that people can, there should be a hotline or whatever for reporting this.
Right, but then the enforcement mechanism is.
Yes, somebody
who-
has to go and validate.
Okay,
and
so
then
there you go.
Issue the fine and
Right,
blah, blah, blah.
so
right.
I mean,
right.
that's where it would, that's who it would go through for enforcement, right? It would go through the health inspection department. So this would actually, in that case, it would have to be coordinated with the county to see if that's something they buy into and how that would work for them.
There's
Well-
already other towns in the county doing this.
I understand, but
Right.
they might have their own health inspectors in that municipality. I
true.
don't know. I'm just bringing it to the table.
Mhm.
That's all, as something that came up at another meeting that, so the enforcement mechanism needs to be looked at, and this is more of a, I don't know, TK or council, someone needs to look into that, how that would
Right.
work.
The other thing that I think comes up in reading the draft is there's an inference that third-party delivery services are either obligated or cooperating or educating and informing their drivers and their restaurants about this information. Like, there's a lot of assumptions here. And do you know if Anjek has done any work on a more global level to see if the DoorDashes and Uber Eats?
They already do this. I mean,
They
I
do.
order all the time from a place in
Excuse me.
Somerset and they, it's all in, it's in there.
So good. Is there a selection for
Yes,
you to say, click, I want utensils?
right.
Oh, okay, cool. I don't know where
And
we're at.
ketchup and mustard and
Yeah,
whatever
right,
else you
right.
want,
Oh,
right?
okay,
I
okay,
mean,
good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Good.
interesting.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
I walk out to get things most of the time. I don't order a lot.
mhm.
I
But
don't order at all.
that's really interesting that they've already implemented it. It probably
Yeah,
makes it a lot
this is
easier.
not new. We are really bringing up the rear here. A whole lot of. other towns have
Well,
done
there are a lot of
it,
municipalities that don't have this, so we're not that far, but
When I was at the League of Municipalities conference in November, the woman that I spoke to from, I'm going to forget the name of it's escaping me, the name of the organization that was involved in advocating for this. I don't know, it had two names, water and something else, but she
water
said there were
action, the water
8
action, water,
yeah, it might have been,
clean water action,
and
I think.
food action.
I
or
think it's
something.
clean water action.
Clean water action.
Yeah.
She said there were 8 municipalities in the state. Now, whether there were 8 that had adopted what they were promoting or whether there were 8 in total, I'm not sure. But it seemed like it was kind of maneuvering its way through in other places, but not adopted.
Yeah, it's not widely adopted yet.
Well, New York City has it already.
Well, yeah, but in New Jersey, I mean,
Right.
we're kind of in the middle. They're the
Mhm.
early adopters, and anyway, what's the difference? So it's a good thing we're moving forward on this.
Right.
But this does need to be studied, and the enforcement mechanism is definitely something that needs to be looked at by someone, because it would take coordination with the county. Unless there's another municipality within the county that's already doing this, and then they have that set up. Right, they would need a hotline and blah, blah, blah. Someone to go in, and maybe they need a new code to put for the violation. What code did you violate? So, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of looking at. So where are we going with this?
Yeah,
We're
what's
going to
our next
review it.
step?
Yeah, we're reviewing it, and then this is Ann.
Well, I mean, I think the next step is sharing it with, city market people and Esperanza, those things, and see if they're
Mhm.
on board with it. My understanding is the towns that have brought this up end up, like the restaurants are basically in support of it. It's just a cost for them. It's a hassle. They're happy not to do it, right? They save money, right? So, and it's about a 2-second training thing for their employees. There's not a lot of overhead. So, and the enforcement, I don't know very much about. If, why don't we see what the appetite is on the, I don't want to run around and stir the pot about enforcement until there's interest, quite honestly.
No,
Right.
So
of
if
course.
that's
I
all right
agree
with
with that.
you, I will wait until you get back to me with, you know, what people think, and then I will go rattle some cages and say, how would this work?
All right, I'll reach out to Pam again and
Because
tell
that'll
her.
get people's backs up right away. You know, it's just like, do this second, right? So,
Well, it's gonna need to
Well,
be
in
mentioned.
the original conversation, when I first talked about this being one of the items that we have been discussing, there was a general feeling in the room, because many of the people were restaurateurs,
Mhm.
that um, it it was kind of an imposition and would change the flow of things in the way that people fill orders. Like it is another step. It's not a hard thing to do, but the question was, oh, you have to make sure you ask on the phone if people are ordering. And
Right.
then if you don't give it to them, then people are angry with you as the merchant. So the education part of it is really important. The other thing that I noticed is that the draft recommends that it take effect immediately. And I personally think we should soften that a little bit
I
and make
agree. You
it
don't
like
do these things all in
voluntary.
one fell swoop, right?
Yeah, voluntary for the first year or the first 6 months, and
No,
with
you phase
a
this
rate.
in, right?
Yeah,
Right.
so,
Makes sense.
Yeah, like phase it in.
right.
And then there's the education side for the consumer. So
Right.
some of it discusses, you know, someone is responsible for educating the consumer at the municipal level, right? So there
Right.
has to be,
So this
so
is
there
just like when you order food, it says on the menu.
well, no, I think it specifically mentions there has to be some kind of formal outreach, if I'm not mistaken.
In the
Um,
ordinance?
Yeah, we have to have, it says something about you can do it on the internet. I have to read it again. It's
We
a
can
little
also
bit.
like finagle that. Like again, this is not a cut and dry.
So so under 4A, the municipality shall establish a public education program. So that's on the city to do this, to
Right.
disseminate information regarding implementation of this title. So, and then it discusses on the website, it has to discuss the general benefits, a summary of the general benefits, requirements, citizens' rights.
Right.
That's the last section. So, you know, there's a bit to do here, and then also,
And we could be supportive with that. I mean, we are
that's
doing some other things on the website. We
right.
could add it to our portfolio.
Right. But I don't know if that would satisfy but again, this can be amended, you know, so
Mhm. Right.
we might want to take it out that the municipality, I don't know. But this is the big discussion. So I think next steps would be, I'm going to reach out to Anjek on the plastics thing. That's a simple one. That's just, what do you mean by this? But I think the next steps would be, right, we need to see what the temperature is, what the receptivity is about this out there, right?
Right.
So that would be City Market in Esperanza.
Right.
I think in that order. And I'll reach out to Pam, and then Charles is on board with having this
Yes.
presented to his constituents. So
Right. He mentioned
yeah,
that.
yeah. So.
If I could, Alex, if I could ask you, do you have any sense of how extensive the problem is of this kind of stuff in the parks? Is there a lot of, cleanup that that your colleagues have to do around
Well,
food waste and this,
yeah, there is,
plastics?
especially on Monday mornings after everybody has a permit to have their events at different parks. There's a tremendous amount of cleanup that's done. It takes almost 2 days to get it all done.
Wow.
And Mike Perez, who's the waste guy there, has how many tons he drops off each Monday at the dump, and yeah, it's quite a bit. It's a lot, and there's a lot of things
Mm,
that are happening. Some things are happening with bottles and cooking and things like that that aren't supposed to happen. But once they get there, it's a different story. But that's another can of worms. But yes, a tremendous amount after the weekends and holidays.
Interesting. I mean, if that kind of data is available, data, can be used to really get interest and compliance with things like this. If he's
Yeah.
talking about how many tons
Yeah.
and that it takes 2 days of time that could be, used for planting or something.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Are
Um,
you,
could be
Denise, are
part of our
you,
education program and outreach.
Denise, are
Yeah.
you referring to, I mean, that can't be isolated to this specific ordinance, right? You're talking about overall.
Right.
Because
Right.
it doesn't take 2 days to pick up the forks and knives, right?
No, it's just
It's
the
the bulk.
garbage at every park.
It's the bulk, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah,
Um,
I could count the tonnage that's done.
Yeah, that's it. That's interesting. I think that could help. I mean, what other kinds of things? I mean, isn't the majority of it food and plastic,
Pizza
bottles?
boxes, probably.
I'd have to
Box.
ask Mike. I think a lot of it would be bottles,
Yeah.
Okay.
glass bottles. But I'll ask Mike about that specifically.
Yeah, that would be great. And see if
Okay.
maybe Mike has some ideas of
Sure.
what we could do. What
Okay.
does he think about both this kind of an ordinance and that direction, and whether there are other things that he's got sitting in the back of his head that no one's asked about
Okay.
yet.
All right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks.
So we have, Glenn, you're gonna reach out to City Market. Did
Yep.
you want to say you wanted to reach out to City?
Yeah,
You wanted to reach out to City Market?
yeah,
before-
I'll tell them there's a formal draft of the ordinance now, so chop, let's get on the stick and see what you guys think, so light a little fire under there, so we'll actually hopefully get in there soon.
Okay.
It's something to push against. Let them give
Right.
them something to do.
Yeah, bring
Right.
something to the table that they can like chomp
Right,
in.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Actually, if everyone's okay, I can forward this to her to disseminate amongst her
Sure.
constituents. Yeah, I think so.
Good idea.
Give them a little heads up, and then we can go in and say, okay, what don't you like about it? What's your problem?
I know what's your problem.
Yeah.
Would you wanna, so my question also is like, I know you said that like Bergman is also open to you coming to speak to his constituents. Do you want to see like what the temperature is with the City Market folks before?
Yes.
Okay.
And in fact, I designed it that way. I said, look, Charles, we're gonna do this with Pam. It was during a Parks and Gardens Commission meeting after
Oh,
the
I
meeting.
missed it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I said, hey, by the way, this is what we're doing. Are you cool with it? So let's do it after, we see what's going on with City Market. Is there a Spanish version, Anne? I would imagine there is.
Good question.
It's a very good question, actually.
Look, formal adoption by the city council, it doesn't need to be Spanish, obviously, but if I'm forwarding it to Charles to forward to his people, I can look, or if I call Anjek, there you go. I can ask him,
Hey,
right?
ask Anjek when you're
Ta-da.
on Anjek's
Yeah,
site.
ta-da, done. So I'll do that. I'll ask him if they have
We should bear in mind then, if we have different versions of this, Glenn, as
Mhm.
we're, as this is going through the pipeline, we're going to need to have somebody modify it. If we're going to start at the beginning with a Spanish version, then we need to have a process throughout.
Well, I just wanted something that Charles's constituents can read.
Right.
Then it would certainly be easier for them to read in their native language as opposed to, having someone translate it. So just for the ordinance, just to get it out there and say, hey, this is what we're thinking. Here you go. What do you think? What's your feedback? Charles can disseminate to his people in Spanish, and then they can,
Mhm.
right? Take a look at it, and then at least if we have that meeting, formal meeting with Esperanza to discuss this, then they'll be pre-informed, right? I think that's,
There is not a Spanish language version on the
Okay.
NJAC site. I just looked.
well, we could leave that to Charles. He's kind of open to the translation thing. I don't think he wants to do it at this level. But maybe it doesn't need to be at this level. Maybe we could, he could discuss it with them. I don't know, or do a summary of some kind, but.
Right.
And he might say, look, don't worry about it. It's fine in English. They'll be able to go through it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I think for most business owners, they speak English well enough to read a fairly simple ordinance.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. No, that's gonna be my point.
Okay. Sounds good.
Anyway, I'll get back to you guys on that. And the Anjek plastics / maybe they just didn't publish the Spanish version. I doubt that, but if they have it, I'll find out.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, cool beans. All right, next on our thing is I put it on there almost as like a filler, but Anne, is there any update with the pollinator garden?
No update. Next month I'll have an update.
No update. Next month? Woo! Next
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, next month we'll, I just put some seeds in, I've started some seeds. They haven't even sprouted yet. There's nothing to report. So I have another volunteer that went through you. I don't remember their name, and
I don't remember their name either, which is terrible.
it's okay. I have a spreadsheet. That's what I do.
You have a spreadsheet of people that are.
I hate to bring up a sore subject, but does anyone know about the sign? I mean, right?
Ann and I took that offline and
Oh, okay.
we met with Sal, and we have some open items to follow up on.
Oh, okay.
I feel like it was getting hashed out at the meetings. You know what I mean? I feel like that was a smooth move by both of you.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
just-
right now that Sal owes us how will he install the version that we came up with. But, yeah,
Okay.
but it's
Moving?
limping along.
Limping. Okay, it's limping.
Limping along.
Yes.
Listen, I want to add something to the agenda. It can be after the next thing, but it's the April 12th cleanup. We do need to talk
Yeah.
about this. It's our last meeting before then.
Oh, I was actually gonna leave that as like announcements, communications, and reports.
Okay, sorry.
That's why no, I added that specific area to the
Yeah.
to the agenda, just ongoing, just so that if there's anything like an event, it can just live there. You know what I mean?
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, that was Charles used to do that for Parks and Gardens, and I like that.
Yeah, that works. Okay, good. Sorry. All right, the next one's mine also. I sent out a draft statement of this is also, I didn't do a lot of work on it because other people have done this, and all it is supporting the legislature, the New Jersey legislature in moving ahead on their proposed, and in ratifying and approving this bill and making it a law. So I took what North Brunswick wrote, changed a couple of words, sent it out. Took out North Brunswick and all of the specific things to them, and put it out. And I wrote a cover letter because that's what I was thinking we would send to the city council. So I don't know if people had a chance to look at it, but there's not a lot of news here. It was just a draft of the resolution saying we support this, it's important, we should do this, right?
I like how that says the lines with New Brunswick sustainability goals.
What's that? I can't hear you, sorry.
I liked that it mentioned aligns with New Brunswick sustainability goals, because
Yeah.
that's the
like
push, right? With the
Greece.
green team.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I liked both, you know what I mean? And I like support sending it in. I guess my thing is more of like a process thing.
Okay, so we should talk about that because I'm
Okay.
not the chair anymore and you are, and
Yeah, all that sort of thing. So like
Right.
how does this how does it get pushed forward in the right way if we all are in agreement that it should be pushed forward?
so, I mean, there's, the minimum level is we send a letter to the city council and say, we are supporting this and we're asking you to support it. With, pretty much that letter, right? The next thing would be, a better way to do it is to send it and then show up at the meeting and walk them through it, right?
Are we requesting a resolution? I didn't read, I gotta look at it again.
Yes, we're asking the
yes,
city to
yes.
adopt a resolution to
Yes, yes, yes.
support
I
the
got it.
law.
I got it. That's all I
Right.
needed. Yep.
Right.
I have to look at
So-
it again.
Actually, Charlie, are you here? How many other towns have done this? Are you here, Charlie?
Pictures here.
It's pictures here.
Right. His camera is here and we're being broadcast. That's for Lindy, in case you didn't know that. We should have
Right.
mentioned.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Charlie might be at the Board of Ed at the same time, like,
Yeah, he hops back and forth, I know.
so,
Okay.
but I think there's about 9 or 10, the last I heard, towns that have signed on.
Okay,
Okay.
so, all right, yeah.
Statewide,
Yes. Yes,
I can, yeah.
but a lot of people are working on it in their towns.
Yeah. So, I think it would really benefit New Brunswick. It's a real, like, we should do this.
Yeah, sure.
So do we know how extensive Superfund locations are in our area? I didn't read it. I apologize. I will get to, other than vacation and cruising and
The thing about that, no,
We have
flooding
brownfields, that's
problems.
for
I don't
sure.
think it's called a Superfund site.
No, we have brownfields. That's.
But-
Yeah, brownfields.
Yeah.
But this is a little different. They just kind of use the term, so it doesn't need to be a particular site. The municipalities or whatever entity is applying for the funds, which is going to be billions of dollars, it's to remediate the damage from fossil fuels. So, for example, excessive flooding. If
Right.
we have damage from
That's our
flooding.
big problem, right?
Yeah, or if people need to raise their houses so they don't get flooded next time. Anything that could be tied into damage from fossil
Right.
fuels, the municipality can apply to get the funds to do that.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a declared Superfund site. Given, I think Superfund sites are at a higher level than municipalities. I mean, they're either state or federal. I'm not really sure.
Federal.
I'm
Pretty sure federal,
blithering,
no?
so I'm not sure. But no, this is something that the town, New Brunswick would say, we need help with X, Y, and Z, right?
Mhm.
We've experienced, catastrophic flooding, which we did twice, Ida, and what was the other one? Not
Floyd.
Katrina. What?
Floyd,
Floyd, right. And there are also a lot of smaller things that I'm not familiar with, but they would require cleanup that might get covered, right?
Some of this, I believe, Denise and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe there's one of the action items is stormwater management or the green team. Am I right about that? I'm pretty sure that's
Yes.
correct. Yeah.
Should
So this
be,
might-
yeah.
The data they collect might help inform some of what we might want to present to the state under this, whatever it's called.
Mhm.
Because the city would need to do an analysis of, okay, let's sit down and think about how this would fit into, or what we can fit into this
Right, but in order to support the law, we don't have to have that data.
No, I understand.
So
But you
it's
guys were
really,
talking about what the benefits are of, right, that
Right.
being passed. So
right.
that's all I'm saying.
So I haven't been to a city council meeting of late. I'm not sure what the, what the reception is likely to be. Does anyone have a better read on that?
I think, my experience is that we don't like to step on the toes of other municipalities or other counties, even if they align with us. But if there are resources that could become available to us because we support something, that would be a reason that the city council would support it. That's been my experience. And I guess the other thing is I think even though it's repeated in this resolution that we're asking for, I would suggest we actual legislation for those who might want to read it on the city council, both the assembly and the Senate version. Even though it's repeated here, that's just been the norm that I've seen.
Okay,
Well, they would definitely want to read it before, right?
well, it's referred to. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
Right,
I'll
right.
put a link to it, and-
right,
All right.
Yeah.
I don't want to actually print it out and. that's-
right.
that's
Goes
cumbersome.
against our
Yeah.
principles, right?
Right.
That's my experience and opinion, but I'd be interested if other people know if the city has an appetite for speaking up on things like this.
So the most similar thing that I was there about was the Woodbridge Power Plant.
Right.
And exactly what you said. They felt like, oh, that's Woodbridge's business. Like, we don't want to meddle in their business, even though we have to breathe the results of it.
Right.
Correct.
But they, so even though the Environmental Commission had passed in favor, the city council declined, not wanting to, exactly like you said, step on toes. Because Woodbridge, of course, got a lot of money to put the plant there,
Right.
but the rest of us didn't.
Right.
Right.
Did that, do you know if that went through?
It did not. But there was, again, like massive, dozens and dozens of towns that did the resolutions against it. Huge protests, march across the state,
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff. And, they backed down.
Right. Yeah, and I have to give, I was at the city council meeting when we presented that. And I have to give kudos to them. I think it was a compromised position that they were taking, even though I think I'm in agreement with you. It does affect our health. It does affect our air quality. It affects our whole environment in New Brunswick. We have a lot of students. We have a lot of families that live here. We have a lot of visitors that are, and they're passing by. But they did respond and say, our environmental commission took a position on that. So they basically were saying,
Right.
we don't want to get into the business of impacting the economy or the budget or the business of another governmental entity. But in theory, the people who are supposed to be supporting this are supporting it.
Right. Which was a way of saying what she said.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. But it worked. I mean, so, right. So
Right.
I don't know if we can take I suppose we could pass the resolution, which means absolutely nothing, right?
Well, we're
But,
saying we support it, right?
right, I mean, I
Yeah.
think the idea is for the city to do it and say, yeah, we're in and we want, you know.
Right.
So the other thing is I would encourage you to, you know, on the website for that, there is a, you know, a way to call your representative and tell them to do it.
Right.
I mean, just as a citizen thing.
Or
right?
get a cardboard cutout, put it in the chair, and then we can have like 1,300 people just talk to it. That's the trend these days, right? All these
Right.
town halls with the cardboard cutouts. That's a joke.
The other thing that I think is very, relevant is that our state senator Smith is the primary sponsor
Yeah.
Yep,
on the Senate, or one of the co-sponsors on the Senate side.
right,
And that's kind of why I was suggesting that we include the link to the bill, because it's in the very last, be it further resolved. But it's not as prominent. I don't know if it's limited to only 3 assembly sponsors, which is what's in here. For some reason, I thought,
no, there are more. There's a
yeah.
whole slew of them at this point.
And if it's our representatives, then I think that's an important consideration for making sure that the city council knows that our representatives are on board and actually leading.
Yeah,
part
that's a
of this.
good point. That's a good point.
Also that they asked us to do this.
Right,
When Senator Smith, when he came outside, and it was cold, and he came outside after they moved it out of committee and said, please, you've got to get your towns to, you know, support us by getting your towns to pass the resolutions.
That guy
Right.
rocks. He really rocks.
Okay.
Yeah.
On environmental issues, he is the spearhead.
yeah, well,
tip of
he's
the-
our guy.
Tip of the spear. Yeah.
Our guy in the environment. Yes.
He really is.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so
So
next
do-
step. So, Erin, so what do we want to do with this? Are there edits? I will add the link to the, you know, to the state site that has all the information and will be updated as it, as this moves, right? But other than that,
Well, do we want to vote on it?
So in
I
line
say
with,
yes.
if I could just add, in line with the sponsorship with the link, maybe put in the cover letter in the transmittal, sponsored by Senator Smith and McKeon, and on the assembly side, I would just emphasize that in the transmittal letter to the council. And then how do we send this out? Erin, does this go to
Leslie?
Not
emails?
exactly sure how I
Maybe
sent it.
Leslie?
it goes
maybe?
to the clerk and
Yeah.
and we ask her to forward it to the,
Right.
to the
Okay,
council, right?
okay,
And that's how it goes.
Right.
got it. Okay,
Does it automatically like appear as a No, it wouldn't. You know what I mean? They'd have to put it on the city agenda.
I have to put it on the agenda. So we're asking them to put it on the agenda, but they vote on things outside the agenda. I mean,
right.
so,
And it'll have to be read multiple times. I mean, probably we should go to the meeting when when it's going to be
On the
discussed.
agenda.
Mm.
Yep.
But I think the letter's fine that you drafted in.
so I will make these changes. I'll send it around and then what? All right, Erin, does it come from you? You want it to come from me as secretary? From both of us? What do you want to do?
Well, it's
I
signed,
don't.
it's signed by Aaron. Didn't you put? Isn't it
Yeah,
signed?
no, I feel like I can send it to the city clerk.
Okay, fine. Right.
Yeah, I can send it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can send it.
So I don't want to wait another month to
Mhm.
validate the changes. I have 2 changes, including the link to the statement, to the page, the state page, and also adding the name of the sponsors in the cover letter. So I can do those changes tomorrow and
Yeah.
send it out. does this need to get blessed by everybody again?
Yeah, does it? Do we need to vote on this?
I'm fine with you making the changes and sending it. I
So
mean.
can we
you
take a
can
vote
copy
Well, should we
us.
formally
with
vote?
these changes?
Yeah, should we formally, yeah.
Yeah, let's, so why don't everybody who can vote say if they would like, and make those changes and then feel comfortable with me sending it on behalf of the council. I mean, not the
I,
commission.
I,
I
Right.
fully support that.
Okay. So yeah, after you make those changes, and send it to me, and I'll send it out to Leslie, our city clerk.
Right, so then the next question is, do we want to show up at the next? You know, either we ask her when it might be on the agenda and go and back it up, or we just show up
we-
and talk to it.
Erin, could you ask Leslie to notify you when it's gonna be on the agenda? That would be an easy way
Yeah,
to
I
do
can
it.
ask her. I
See
can
if-
ask her when it's gonna be on the agenda.
Um,
I don't know if it's.
Actually, now that you're saying that, maybe we should add, I hate to make you add something else, Sam, but maybe we should offer, if they would like to,
Like do a
come to a
side,
meeting
yeah.
or discuss it further, or have us come to a meeting, like offer, not just that we're making a strong recommendation, but that we're available to assist in their discussion and review of this, if that would be of interest.
I'm not available for that.
Yeah, no,
I
I'm
don't
like,
know.
I don't know enough about it to be available.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Like,
think
I'm
it's,
good.
yeah, it's
Okay.
out there and they probably. I don't know.
I don't know how
Maybe-
much they want me
It's
to
really
talk about it.
self-evident. If they want more
Yeah.
information, it's in the law, you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
In the
It's
law.
like,
It's
you
not
know.
a bad idea, but I think they'll be fine.
Okay,
No, I agree with you. I think that would be nice, but that's not the kind of relationship we have with them, and I'm
Yeah,
not willing
that's the
to,
other
quite
thing.
honestly, I just don't have the bandwidth, so.
okay, sounds good.
Sounds good, not happening.
Duly noted and disregarded.
Duly noted in the notes. All right, so
All
then
right, so we passed
approved it.
that, okay to send with changes, right?
yes,
Mhm.
100%.
And we'll get a copy just so that we have the final.
Yes, of course. And I
Mhm.
won't, I think we can say, Erin, don't send it out, for 24 hours, give people, wait a minute, it says something terrible.
It
right?
says something terrible.
Right. So, you get one more chance, but it's not infinite, and we don't need another month for this, so.
Right,
Yeah, the thing is that it probably, the pre-agenda for the next council meeting is Thursday, so I just,
Yeah, right. It's not gonna happen.
it's not gonna happen for this
Right.
council meeting. It'll have to
Right.
be like the next,
Yeah, it'll be in 2 weeks.
I'll
And,
like time
right.
it. So at least
Hopefully.
it's not a month.
Yeah, we don't know their
Right.
agenda, but
Yeah, at least it's not a month.
No, it's not a month till we vote on it and say, yes, yea, verily, go forth and do this, and then another.
And then
2
it's like
weeks,
another like 8 weeks.
Yes, okay, so this is a check. We got something, moving here, so good.
right, terrific.
I don't want to be this person, but I think I am going to be this person.
Be that person.
Be that person. I think I'm going to table the discussion of the priorities again, just because I think that it's like 8:15, you know what I mean, in the absence of time. And I also like both Jamie and Shane are not here right now, and they're both
Yeah, what happened?
not available. One's got a work commitment, one's on vacation.
Okay,
So good for them. They both
yeah, no, this should definitely
that.
include them.
Yeah, I
agree.
want to make sure that everybody's at the same conversation. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna just push that. Also, the next meeting that we have is on Earth Day. So I feel like it's very apropos that we have an environmental commission meeting on Earth Day to talk about our priorities. We can put it at the top of the agenda and delve in
Right,
the beginning.
Okay,
I think that's really good. I think the other thing that
Can we go now?
probably we can't,
Can we what?
I'm
Can
sorry.
we what?
Denise,
be
go
done?
ahead.
Can we be done? Well, the only other thing is that we have, I guess there's no tax.
Well, Denise was in the middle of,
No, Denise, go ahead. You say what you want to say.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
sorry, I thought I interrupted Ann because
No.
I'm on a little bit of a delay. I have been very disheartened by some of the things that are being proposed and happening at the federal level. And I think it is more incumbent upon us at a local level and a state level, especially in this state, the Garden State, to really promote and focus on and support efforts that may require a difference of resources, like this Superfund. The Superfund fund could be very helpful in filling gaps that might come to us. So I think when we talk about our priorities and our plans, I just want to be on record that that is really uppermost in my mind. And I think it's really incumbent upon us to do the best that we can do with our plans, with our education, with our engagement, with supporting the efforts of the Green Team and Sustainable Jersey, because we may be it. And, 4 years is a long time to not have resources coming from the federal level.
Yeah, that's a good point, Denise. Fight the good fight, right where we are.
Marching my whole life.
hey, just to follow up on one thing, I think Ann, you brought this up. Did we discuss the April 12th cleanup at Mile Run? Is
Yes,
everyone
that was gonna be my next
Oh, okay,
headline.
good. Oh, yeah, right, sorry,
Yeah,
yes.
no, that's fine.
Announcements.
You're doing the thing. You're moving us along.
I read the TAC report. There's really nothing for us to do there. I'm sure everyone, I don't know if anyone else read it, but there's a 2-family house converting to a 3-family house on Maple. And then there's a frat that's just going to be getting rid of their parking area and putting in a slab for collection of refuse. So really Ann, you're muted.
And you're muted.
Ann, you're muted.
You're muted. You're muted.
That's a good thing. Let's not tell her.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going back on mute.
Just amongst us friends.
What were you saying, Ann?
She went back
No,
Oh, well,
come
whatever.
back on in.
I didn't see anything with TAC.
on. I think
My
that's
only comment was that it should be pervious surfaces that they're covering that making a slab with, that's all.
well, I think I have to agree with that too, because right now it's gravel, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then like now it's
Right,
gonna
good
be
point.
like all just like concrete. So that was
Yeah.
like my other thought as well.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So can we add that to the, can that be our one comment?
So Alex, I never met with you because my life has been very, very crazy this last couple of weeks. And,
Okay.
And then I forgot. I mean, I'm just being honest. So,
That's fine.
Honesty is good. I like that.
but no, the first week I was supposed to meet with him, but I was in Philly a whole lot. And just because. So what is the we still need to talk about, I will stop by. Yeah, your schedule hasn't changed. You're not on vacation, right?
Nope.
I'll stop by the office and I'll show you the stuff we have and ask you how you want to work with this, because you are the liaison. So anything we say, I think you are the conduit for it, right?
Uh-huh.
So
I'll be there.
okay, yeah, I'll step up my game on that. So.
I guess if you guys have that planned, this is the announcements, communications, and reports section. And did you want to talk about the cleanup real quick? Just like a little PSA?
Oh, I think everybody knows about it.
Okay.
This is the annual, mile run cleanup. It's going to be the same as it's been the last couple of years. And it's, we already talked about it and we had a vote. We agreed we'd participate and we would join with the Franklin Environmental Commission, LRWP, and Erin's, DPW stuff, right?
My DPW staff. They're not really my staff, but yeah, my DPW people. We'll put
Right,
it-
your peeps. right?
Peeps. Peeps are coming. We're gonna bring a trash truck. It's gonna be
And
cool.
what is the date again? I'm sorry.
It's Saturday, April 12th. It's the second Saturday in April, and I think it's 9:30 to 12, I believe. And it's
Okay.
meeting at
Hamilton and Woodbridge.
Hamilton and Woodbridge.
Yeah.
It's literally like the side of the road. There'll be a bunch of people. You're gonna go into the creek. And
It's
from the-
actually pretty much fun. It's amazing what gets hauled out of there. It's like,
yeah, I've
when you
not
look
been.
at the end of it, it's like, wow.
Yeah, and the fact that like we've had to like bring like a trash truck and you kind of just like fill it with stuff as you go, it's pretty impressive.
Are we looking for a lot more people to engage a lot more people?
Yeah, there was a flyer sent out. if you know.
I think that they have like already like a good following, like, just with us, and they have like a
Okay.
watershed ambassador, and they also have the Franklin Environmental Commission. I feel like there's always Rutgers students that end up showing up too. I think they're gonna be good with volunteers.
Volunteers, okay.
I'm not concerned about, I think they have more than enough people show up every year. I've never even been to this location. I'm always doing the Esperanza group at the other part of Mile Run at French Street in Sanford. So this year I'm just gonna focus on the Hamilton and Woodbridge. So I'm kind of interested to see how much stuff gets taken out.
It's a
Okay.
lot. It's a lot. I remember back in the day, we actually had a location. There's a couple on Woodbridge that we used their driveway as a decontamination site, and we were washing things off and disposing of them in various ways. So it's great that DPW is going to participate in this. That's really good.
Yeah, no, we've participated in the past. So yeah, we're
Yeah, that one, no, but yeah. Right. I mean, this is way back, Aaron, way back.
I'm talking like in 2022.
Yeah,
I
right,
mean,
right. This is like,
this is within my scope of
right, right. Now this is in the 20 zeros. Okay.
norms. Okay. So we're good on the cleanup. Do we have any public comments from Charlie or Lindy? Now, forever hold your peace.
No, I just was so happy to see the New Jersey
Super fun.
super climate, New
Yeah,
Jersey,
right.
the act that it's going to go to the city council. And when you guys find out when it will be presented at the city council, I will also go to the city council.
Excellent, thanks.
Terrific.
We appreciate the support.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
love supporting you.
I appreciate you guys supporting me.
And we appreciate you.
All right. Seeing that there are no more public comments, we can adjourn the meeting. It is 8:24 p.m. All right.
Okay, friends, good to see you all.
Good to see
Bye.
everybody.
Okay, one quick question.
Uh-oh.
And
We adjourned.
Did
and
we, Charlie
you're
didn't say
muted
and now
again.
you're on mute.
And you're muted again.
And I'm running in.
You're muted
Got it.
again, Ann. There you go.
Sorry.
That's
And
okay.
Charlie, in case he wants to talk, I know you asked him.
Not here.
Yeah, I don't think
Denise,
he's
send
there.
me
At
whatever
the
you
Board
have
of
for the
Ed.
beginning of the notes, because I'll
I
do the
will.
minutes right away.
Yep,
Okay.
Thank you.
Peace.
24.
all right.
Bye, everybody.
Hasta luego.
There you go.